Okay, so hello everyone and welcome back to another video of ICP5 coding. So in this video, we're going to make a new series which is named Game Development, and in this particular video, we're going to make the well-known Pong game. So if you just want to know about what the Pong game is all about, you could just read through the entire Wikipedia. So it was created on 29 November 1972, and this is exactly the game which you want to create. You can see the game here. It is involving two rectangles, or they're actually parallels, and there's a one Pong which is just bouncing off the different rectangles. They want to create this exact same game, and I'm going to do it exactly in p5.js. But before we start, I would just like to give you a brief detailing about what is actually game development. Okay, so we are here back in our Microsoft Word, and so the game development process mainly consists of three segments. So these segments can be named as the elements. The second segment becomes the mechanism, and the third segment becomes the state, or you can also call it the game state. So these are the three basic mechanisms or the stages or the segments of game development. So in this section of elements, in the elements section, we deal with all the characters. We deal with all the characters or the objects who are involved in the game. So in the mechanism we generally talk about how the game has to be played. How the game will be played, or what the rules are. So we're going to basically talk about the mechanism of the game. That means what will be the rules and how is the game going to be played, or how it is going to proceed. And now the third part, which is the game state, is basically in which position your game is. So it talks about the position of your game. So if you are in the starting position, you're about to start the game is ongoing, or the game is over and you've got a result. So these are going to be different stages of the game. So keeping these three portions in mind, let's now talk about the Pong game. So I've got a rectangular canvas here. So in this, if we talk about the elements of the objects, so in this particular game, we are going to have two paddles, these rectangular pieces. We're going to have these two kinds of paddles here, like this. We're going to have these kinds of paddles, and in the center we are going to have a kind of a ball, which you can also call a pong. So these will be the basic three elements of our game. Now how the game functions, so this is the element section. And now if we talk about the mechanism, so in this mechanism phase, the ball will have a way. If I just draw an arrow, so the ball will have a way, so it will go here, it will just go in a particular direction, and then it is supposed to bounce off here. It is going to bounce off, and the goal of my paddles, okay, it is going to not there, it is going to end, suppose bounce here, and the paddles will just have to move. They have to go to the ball position. The paddles have to go towards the ball position, and then the ball, and after this the ball will then rebounds back. So this is the entire mechanism of the game. Now this is the mechanism section. So now before starting the code, so let's create a overall chart about what we need to make. So our first task, or the first stage, will be to make two classes named paddle and pong. Then we will have to make two paddle objects of that particular paddle class, and we need to have one object called pong at the center. So now let's first implement these two stages in our code. So I've got one Visual Studio Code web page, and if I just run this, if I just execute this, it gives me this blank black canvas. And now if you've watched my object oriented video, so I had created my classes in separate files, and I'm calling them pong.js and paddle.js. So let's start by creating the paddle. So to create the paddle, I will write my function class sorry, it's actually small. I will write class paddle. I will open my curly brackets, and now inside this I will write the constructor. Now what does the constructor do? You can just see in my previous video. I have explained that very well. So I am going to give it my x, y, width and height. Now my this dot x is going to be x, this dot y should be y, this dot w should be w, and this dot h should be h. So define the basic properties of my paddle class. And now I'm going to have a display function, and in display function I will write no stroke. I will write fill. Let's say what should be the fill color. For now I will have my 255 white color, and I am going to insert a rectangle at this dot x, this dot y, and this dot z. Okay, what am I doing? Yo, sorry. So it should be this dot w and this dot h. I just got mad for a second. Yeah. Now, so this is the paddle class, and let's create a similar Pong class in the new file called the Pong.js. So I'm going to create a class named Pong, and inside this I'm going to have my constructor function. There we go. In the constructor we will have our this dot x equal to x, this dot y equal to y. We're going to have no width and height, we're just going to have the radius. And so let me give the x, y and the r here. Okay, let these be the properties for now, and then I need to write another display function. In a display function I will write again a no stroke. Let's say fill. I'm going to give a red color for now. So 255.00, and I want the ellipse at this dot x, this dot making so many errors, this dot y 2 times. Now, so the ellipse function, as we know, contains the diameter. Now I have given the argument for the radius, so I need to write 2 times this dot r and 2 times this dot r here. There we go. Now I have created two classes. So my first task, this task, is done. And the second task is to make 2 paddle objects and one Pong at the center. So I will come to my sketch.js file. I will write my 2 variables. I will write paddle1, and I will have my paddle2, and I'm going to have my little Pong here. Let's go. And here in the setup I'm going to write pad1 equal to a new paddle, and this paddle should be at any particular x. So let the x for now. Okay, one more thing I should probably do is I should have my rect mode as center. That could help. So let me just have my rect mode, and actually we could just have it in the setup. Rect mode, I should have it in the center, and I should have my ellipse as well, ellipse mode. By default it is center, that's not a problem, but let's write it for the sake of compulsion. Now, so my rectangle should be at 400, that is the exact middle of my canvas. The x should be at the left side, the leftmost side, so it will be nearly equal to 0. My y coordinate should be 400 as the center, and on the width and height could be, let's say, 10 and 100. And now I'm going to write pad1 dot display. If I write this, then I'm supposed to see the paddle in my screen. So let's now run this, and I can see that the paddle is here. Well, okay, I should have written these in the function draw. I knew it was going to create some problem. So let's now write this. Okay, wait. Oh, because no. Because I am displaying everything in my paddle.js. So I should actually write the rect mode.center here. I should write that here. And in the pong.js, here I should write the ellipse mode at the center. And still is a problem. Okay. The sketch.js. Okay, let's see that is .y. This should not be a problem actually. In the console, let me check at 1.y. It is at 400. So if it is at 400, then why not, right? I've written rect mode as center here. Should it be rect mode the center? It could be that. Okay, it is not defined. Okay, it is center, that's for sure. It's rect mode dot center. If I write rect mode dot corner, let's see what happens. Rect mode dot corner. I'm getting, oh, because no, it is center. It's all right. Because here I need to subtract the height. I need to subtract the height. Yeah. So my height should be 500, and now if I just execute this, I'm going to get it exactly at the center. There we go. I'm going to get it exactly at the center. There's a little gap you can see, and I will create a similar paddles. I'm going to create a similar paddle, the paddle 2, and I'm going to create it at 490, and I'm going to write pad2 dot display, and I should see the second paddle. Okay, this should be 790, and I will see it here now. Well, this is actually in the center. I mean, this is a bit of confusion for me. I don't think. Guess what? We should have the half of 600. It should be 300. It should be 300, and then there's no particular issue. I'm seeing it exactly in the center. This is actually what should be the code. Now, similarly, I'm going to create one more Pong. The Pong will be a new Pong. Let's say exactly the center, so it's 400, 300, and it should be of a radius, let's say 10 and 10, and the semicolon. Yeah. Now I will get, okay, I'm not in a display function. Yeah. So pong.display, pong.display, and I'm going to see the Pong at the center. So here, everybody, we have completed the first two stages of our game. So let's figure out the remaining stages. There we go. We have the next two stages, that is to create a way so that we can just move the Pong. As I said here, the Pong should move in a particular direction. I need to give that direction, and if it hits the top and the bottom edges, it should bounce back. So let's now implement that in our code. So in the pong.js, I will write a kind of function called update. So I'll just update its position. I'm going to write that function. So in this update, and I'm going to have, okay, in this update position, update function, I can straight away write this dot x equal to this dot x plus 1. And okay, so let's have a variable called this dot velocity, for this. Okay, and that will be for now 1, and x velocity, and this dot y velocity, and let that be 1 as well. So I'm going to increase it by this dot x velocity, and my y should also increase by this dot y plus this dot y velocity. There we go. And now if I in the sketch.js, I just write pong.update, I should actually see the ball or the Pong moving. Let's see. Okay, it's actually moving in this direction, but it's quite slow. So let me just change these velocities to, let's say, 4, so that it moves a bit quickly. Yeah, that's good. So now, as you saw here, let me just run it again. So the Pong is actually just moving outside my screen. There we go. So the Pong is actually moving outside my screen, but I want it to bounce off the top and the bottom corner as our stage 4 says. So now let's write a function. Let's call it bounce edge as a function. Okay, there we go. So for this, I should have this two variables, this dot x direction. That should be, now I want this x direction to be called in the constructor, the x direction and the y direction, and that will be equal to my x direction there, and this dot y direction should be equal to y direction. Okay, all right. Now in the sketch.js, I will now implement my x and y directions initially to 1. I'm going to tell you what I'm doing. Now in a bounce edge function, so if you have seen my activity where I was making the one ball bounce off all the edges, so there I implemented one if statement that if my this dot y is less than or equal to 0, that means if it is near the top, then or, so this is an or operator I'm going to implement here. If an or operator, or the or if this dot y is greater than equal to my window height, and that window height is 600, so 600. And actually, let's just introduce a new thing. So p5.js is an amazing way for just accessing the width and height of the windows. I could directly say, instead of 300 width by 2, I could say that it will give me the same result. I could say width by 2, it will give me the same result. And here I could say, actually height by 2, sorry, I should say height by 2, and here I should say height by 2. And if I write width by 2 here, by 2, and height by 2, so we should get the same result, I guess. Okay, Pong is not defined. Pong is not defined. Okay, I had left if statement completely incomplete. So here, now I'm going to write the height. So if my this dot y is increasing is exceeding the height, I want a way to change my this dot y direction. So this dot y direction should be multiplied, and this is the way to multiply actually. So it should get multiplied by -1. And here I'm going to write that this dot y velocity multiplied by this dot y. What is the direction? The velocity is magnitude times what the direction is. Now, if I were to implement the Pong dot bounce edge here, Pong dot bounce edge function, let's see what happens now. Okay, it is supposed to, but okay, so you can see the Pong is just bouncing off the edge. The Pong is bouncing off the edge. Now the problem is when I'm accessing the this dot y. So the this dot y, if we just decrease the speed, let's say I want the velocities to be 1 for now. Just wait. I should have it 1. It should be 1. Now I can see it more clearly. So let's see if I zoom in here. If you see it clearly, so you can see that the half of the ball, half of this Pong, where is it? Yeah, the half of the Pong moves out of the screen because this dot y refers to the center of the Pong. So I need center of the Pong. So I need to exceed this dot y. It should increase by the Pong's radius, this dot r, by 2. It should happen by this dot r because it's a diameter. Okay, now let's see. Now the ball is still moving. Okay, so it should actually, as you have seen here, so it should actually it should bounce up exactly when it is in the corner. So we created this system, and I'm going to add this here as well, and this side it will be -r, this side will be -r, and to see the top portion, let me change this to be -1 initially. Okay, -1, there we go. So in the Pong.js it's into equal to minus. Okay, I have created my velocities. Okay, velocity is 1, and update distribute this times the y direction. So I've given the y direction to be -1. Then okay, I've given it to be -1, but then it's still moving that side. So if I just change it to 1, so it's got no effect. Okay, so let me increase the x velocity and the y velocity, and let me change this to 4 so that I can see it more quickly. So it is bouncing off clear. Okay, guess what the problem is? So I have got 2 tens over here for 2 radius to be 2 times. That I've given the argument for radius only a single time, so I should remove this extra 10. And now we can see it moving upwards, and we can see the similar bouncing off effect is happening in the upward edge as well. Okay, so now let's head forward to the remaining stages, the next few stages of the game. So this is the next stage which we want to do. So we want to move the Pong back to the center. So we want the Pong, when it moves outside the window, the left and right side of the window, it should go back to the center, because now you can see that it is just bouncing off and it is moving out. So when it is going out of the right window, I want to place it back to the center. So let's write the code. So now in a pong.js, I'm going to in the update function, I'm going to write that if this.x plus this.x plus this.r, that means the exact right corner of the Pong becomes equal greater than this dot width. Sorry, not this dot width, becomes greater than the width. If that happens, or I'm going to have the or operator as well. If this dot x minus width minus this dot r becomes less than 0 by any means, becomes less than 0, then I should set this dot x to width divided by 2 and this dot y to the height divided by 2. Let's check if this works. It's going to move back and it's going to come back here. You can see it is going to come back this side, and a problem which is coming because I have this direction, because the direction still remains that side, so I should reset the direction. So here this dot y direction should again be multiplied by -1. I guess it should be multiplied by -1, and now let's check this. So it's still moving in that direction in a particular loop like pattern. So that's what we just wanted. So now I have a way to make the Pong come back. Okay, so my next step should be to have a way to move these pedals like this. So if I just show you here as a presentation, so pedals should move like this, either by my arrow keys like this, or either by the mouse. So first let's do it by the mouse. So I need to do it in the paddle.js. So I need to have a move or an update function here as well. Now in this move function, I need to say for the mouse, first let's say for the mouse. So this dot y should change. So this dot y will follow my mouse y. If we say that, and if we write for the first pedal, let's do this for the first pedal move, we do this function, then actually we'll see that the pedal is actually moving with my mouse as I am moving my mouse. You can see this working. Yes, here you can see the pedal is actually moving, but I do not want it for my mouse. I want it for my up and down arrow keys or my WASD arrow keys. So let's do that. So in the move function, I'm going to write a function called if key pressed. So that's a function. If key pressed. If key pressed, now which key I'm pressing is going to access that. Equals, I'm going to write up arrow. Where is my up arrow key? Or you can have key codes for that. I guess we could have. Okay, let's remove this for a second. We could have particular key code for key code. Yeah, let's do that. Key code, and then if I have my up and then key code for this key code dot my up arrow, where it go, key, let's say key. So it's a blank key now. Key, if I write up key there, I could get up arrow. Now let's see up arrow. So the key code for up arrow is 38 and the key code for down arrow is 40. So if key, where did it go? Yeah, if key, and I think it should be key is pressed. Let's just take it once. Key is pressed. Yeah, so this is the command. If key is pressed, and there if the key code is 38, then I should increment this dot y, should increase by this dot y plus 2, let's say. So is this going to work? Okay, let's say it's moving in the particular direction. So did I do something wrong? Okay, everybody, actually I was wrong. It should be key code. So if that key code is 38, I want this. I want this. And else if my key code is 40, else if my key code is 40, then this dot y should be this dot y, and it should get decremented by 2. And then I need to add an additional function called key pressed. So it will access whenever I am clicking on my key. And here then I need to call the pad move function. I should do that. Now let's check it. So okay, you can see it is actually moving with my key, if you can see it very slightly actually. So let me change this to 5 and 5. So now when I'm pressing my key, you can see that my paddle is actually moving like this. Like this, you can see the paddle is actually moving. And for key code 40, what is the problem? Key code, let's have down arrow. For down arrow, sorry, for the down arrow, for the down arrow I've got 40. So if I'm clicking on the down arrow, it should move downwards. Then this dot y should get incremented by -5. Okay, actually this should be 40 and this should be 38. And then okay, it's happening downwards, but it is not happening upwards. Okay, so the problem is actually I'm writing this very stupid code. So this should not be key code. This should actually be key is down. So if I am pressing my key, I should cut the previous portion. So if I am pressing my key, if key is down and I have pressed on the number 40 key, then this should happen. Else if, so this is actual way of writing. This is a p5 function and I did so much. And if this is 38 now, then I should do that. Then it should work both ways. Now you can see this is working both ways like this. It is working both ways. And I should actually remove the key pressed function here. I should write pad.move. Why? I should write the pad.move in the function draw, and now you will get the actual look. So you can see this is what I actually wanted. This is the thing which I actually wanted with my keys. And now let's do the similar thing. Let's do the similar thing for my pad.move, and I should have one argument. Okay, the argument should be, let's say, a string, so it will not give me any error. So pad.move should be up or down. This should be an argument, and it should get, now this update function, okay, it should give one variable. I don't know what to do. Okay, pad.move here, and I should have a number. I should have a 1. It will get any number, and if number, okay, okay, I'm doing it in a pong.js. No, this is wrong. Pad.move, so it should be here. So it will get a number. Now if my number is equal 1, if it is equal to 1, then I'm going to do this. And else if my number is equal 0, then I will have this entire if statement again, and then I will check my WASD keys. So let's check the key code here. Now let's check the key code for W. So for W, okay, remove this everybody. For W dot key code, I guess what to write. Key code W. Okay, I want to remove this folder or something. Okay, let's write just W. This is very confusing. Let's write just W, and if key is down is S. If it is S and the number is equal to 0, then this should happen. And now for the pad2, let's write pad2 dot move 0, and then I guess, okay, number for parameters is 0 based index received string is instead. Okay, I need to check the key code for W. Just let's check it on the internet. Okay, I'm using internet, that's bad. Key code for W and S keys. Yeah, JavaScript key code lists in tables. So for I've got all these keys and this should be helpful. So there we go for WSDs. Let's wait. Okay, I need to search, I guess, W. I need to find W here. Okay, there W. For key W it is 87, and for S it's actually, for S is 83, 87 and 83. So here for W I should write then 87, and for this I should write 83. Will this work? Okay, let's go there. I will close this. So my up and down are working fine. My W and S are working just the opposite. You cannot feel it, but I am feeling it. It is actually working the opposite. This should be 83 and this should be 87. And now we have got this and we have got this. You can see moving together like this. There we go. So I guess that's it for this video. We have done a lot and I have confused my brain as well too much. So in the next video we're going to do the remaining part, and we're going to basically write the condition for the Pong. I'm going to write a condition for the Pong to hit the paddle and move back in the opposite direction. We're going to do that in the next video. So till then, stay tuned.